morning, everyone. Welcome to JDB's Morning Cap. Today is Friday, June 5th, 2026. And we get ready for today. So today, we have Game 2 of the NBA Finals between the Knicks and the Spurs. And we are so looking forward to that. So, we shouldn't have problems at all. So, hopefully, we're going to get this show started in our own hands. But before I preview Game 2's game, we do have some important news to share. It's about the NFL stadium negotiations of Chicago Bears. So here we go. The Chicago Bears have announced the intentions to build a stadium in Hammond, Indiana, which means that there's a chance the Bears will move to northwest of Indiana in the near future. No timetable when the stadium is going to be finished and established. The goal is to get this thing done by 2028. So the Bears could leave Chicago probably after 2027-28 season. If the latest is probably 2029 and 30 season, that's when the stadium could be built. It could be done. Like most likely, could be done by end of 2028. The Bears can play Indiana around 2029-30 season. So we just don't know what's going on. So what was my reaction that the Bears are moving from Chicago to Indiana? This is sad for the Chicago fans. It's been the greatest fan bases in city's history. Chicago is a great sports town. Not just in football, basketball, baseball, hockey. Chicago has two baseball teams, Chicago Cubs and the Chicago White Sox. White Sox are on the south side, the Cubs are on the north side of Chicago. NBA has one basketball team, Chicago Bulls, and one NHL team, Chicago Blackhawks. And then the NFL, Chicago Bears. Those are major sports teams in Illinois. And all those are in Chicago. Like I said, Chicago is a great sports town. And you can take away from this. This is really hard. This is really hard for the Chicago fans. They have shown a bunch of support. The board of directors, the vote took place yesterday when that happened. I'd rather stay in Chicago. It's about the neighborhood situation in the city of Chicago. The reason why they're possibly moving to Indiana is the neighborhood situation. They're trying to get better housing. They're trying to get a better income housing. That's the reason why the Bears are going to move to Indiana, because in the north side of Chicago, they want better housing. They want better business of income, and that's a financial. You can put yourself in a good financial situation. Either a good financial situation or a bad financial situation. I'm not sure it's a good thing or a bad thing for the Chicagoland. To show the Congress, to show the city of governor of operations, and a possible bankruptcy in the city of Chicago. This is a big ass problem because it feels like the Chicago, you want the stadium to implode and to make more housing or medicals or make it a medical facility. They just want to make this builder of negotiations better. It, and I cannot allow that. It's tough. Nobody got a clue, and nobody got a damn clue. This is an issue. Well, it's really tough to get through it, but I'm just saying. And there's no one else have to find out on this one. They just can't. Feels better. And I think this is what happened though. To put themselves in a prime position, and it doesn't even work like that. This is disappointing. All right, let's move on. Tonight, Game 2 of the NBA Finals. It'll be the New York Knicks take on the San Antonio Spurs. Knicks come off a 105-95 victory. They came back from 14 points down in Game 1. The Knicks ahead of the series 1-0. Oh, by the way, the Knicks are on the 11 postseason game winning streak. Actually, take that back. The Knicks are on a 12 postseason game winning streak. They won 12 postseason games in a row after they started 1-2 in the first round. So they'll try to win 13 in a row. But Knicks are 3 wins away from winning a championship. The Knicks have not won the title since the 70s. The last time the Knicks have won the NBA Finals champion was 1973. The Knicks have won 2 titles, 1970 and 1973. They have 2 champions in their franchise's history, looking for the 3rd in the franchise history. So Game 2 tonight begins at 8:30 Eastern on ABC, just like throughout this series in the NBA Finals. So Knicks and Spurs. Let's talk about the New York Knicks. Come off a 10-point victory. Come off a comeback from 14 points down. Jalen Brunson had 30 points. We've just been talking about Jalen Brunson be a clutch performer. It's 7 parts in the playoffs. Even though the Knicks haven't played a lot of close games in the playoffs, the Spurs have played more close games than the Knicks in this postseason. And the Spurs have struggled in clutch games. The Spurs are 3-5 in clutch games in this postseason. The Knicks 3-2 so far this postseason in clutch situations. So you talk about clutch game and clutch moments. It's got to be favored for the New York Knicks because it feels like Jalen Brunson is the best closer on this team. The best closer this post. I mean, he could be the best closer in the playoffs and the best closer in this series when games are going down to the wire. But Karl-Anthony Towns stepped up when he needed it. We talk about Karl-Anthony Towns. He stepped up really well in the playoffs. Could lead to a championship. If Knicks win a championship, it's the reason why they're going to win a championship is Karl-Anthony Towns making a huge impact. And he's cutting down his fouls. That's critical. You play more minutes than total fouls. That's impressive. I don't have a problem with that. Because of that, you put everything to go back at it, and then you said, "Come on now, you you got the best player in the game, Jalen Brunson, and then you got Karl Anthony Towns, you got rest, and then OG Anunoby, the rest of these guys like Josh Hart, Landry Shamet, Landry Shamet, and then you got Mitchell Robinson, Miles McBride, and then Jordan Clarkson. These guys need to play a super confidential, which you're supposed to play, and how the Knicks need to play confident in game 2 offensively. They need to be more efficient with their 3-point shooting. They just need to be more efficient with their shooting. They need to get the ball inside a little bit more. They need to make more. They needed to generate more foul shots. They only had 18 foul attempts, 18 free throw attempts in their last game, which is not that many. They made 16 of those, so that's the good news. But they haven't gone to the line that much in their last game, so they got to be better in game 2. Usually, who attempts more free throws and makes most of it wins the game. But it's not the case. But despite the Knicks shooting better percentage at the line than San Antonio, the Spurs have 7 more free throw attempts. The Spurs have attempted 7 more free throws than the Knicks. Spurs have 25 free throw attempts, made 20 of them. And Knicks have made 16 out of 18. So that's how the Knicks won the game in game 1. They get shot at the line. They outgained themselves at the line by the opponent. So they forced turnovers. The Knicks forced turnovers. That's how they won the game. You gotta have your you gotta have your competitiveness and your spirit. For the Spurs, how the Spurs can bounce back in game 2 of the NBA Finals. Victor Wembanyama had an up and down game. He did have a 26-point, 12-rebound double-double. When I said the other day, there were some positives of the debut of Victor Wembanyama, but there was few negatives. There were several negatives. 6 for 21 from the field, 2 for 9 from downtown, 6 turnovers. Like I said, the positives were 26 points, 12 rebounds, a steal, 3 blocks. There were positives. Negatives were 6 for 21 from the field, 2 for 9 from downtown, and 6 turnovers. He's got to be better. Do you think he's going to play better tonight? Yeah. Yes, he has to play better tonight to even up this series. Victor Wembanyama has to shoot the ball better. He needs to get off to a good start as far as shooting the basketball. They need De'Aaron Fox to be better. He needs to be strong in the ball. He needs to hit better shots, to make better shots, to hit more field goals. He needs to have a better field goal percentage in game 2 if they want to even up this series. Dylan Harper needs to play more minutes. He only played 3 minutes and 33 seconds in the 4th quarter. That's it in game 1. Despite he had a huge impact in their last game. 16 points in his last game. But Dylan Harper will make a more impact coming off the bench here tonight. If they can continue to grow from that, then the Spurs just need to bounce back and take game 2 here tonight. Knicks' 12-game winning streak is on the line in the postseason. So the Spurs try to hand the Knicks their first postseason loss since game 3 of the first round. So there's a lot on the line here tonight. Because of that, San Antonio Spurs, they got to make some adjustments offensively. All right, who would I like to win in game 2, Spurs or the Knicks? I like San Antonio bounce back with a win here tonight. I think I think Wembanyama will show up, and De'Aaron Fox will show up tonight, and Stephon Castle will also show up where they needed it the most. So we should be happy. When that's going to be the case right now here. All right, come next on JDB's Morning Cap, we will talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Are the Philadelphia Eagles team completely tested coming into the 2026-27 regular season? Also coming up, what happened to Aaron Judge? I gotta answer this question a little bit later on this show. And also, can the Bengals compete for the AFC North division bound in 2026-27 season? It has all happened right after this. Welcome back to JDB's Morning Cap. We've just been talking about A.J. Brown is leaving Philadelphia for New England the Patriots. So the Eagles are looking to put themselves in a position in 2026. So right now, here are the Eagles wide receiver room since A.J. Brown's departure. So here we go. Devontae Smith is the new number one receiver. He already signed a 3-year, $75 million extension. Try to be more consistent. Then the Eagles drafted Mekhi Lemon from USC. And then the Eagles had acquired from the Green Bay Packers Dontavian Wicks. And then the Eagles have added Marquise Hollywood Brown, signing a 1-year, $5 million deal. So there's a lot of, so Devontae Smith is number one, there's no question about it. The number 2 wide receiver is up for grabs. So there's going to be competition for the number 2 wide receiver slot. Will it be Lemon, Wicks, or Hollywood Brown? We'll find out who's going to earn the spot for the number 2 wide receiver in this position. Sean Manaman is the new Eagles offensive coordinator after Kevin Fertolo was fired last season, early this offseason, after the Eagles suffered a first-round wild card loss to the San Francisco 49ers. So, do you think Davante Adams is the best wide receiver on this team? I believe so. He deserves to be the best wide receiver, the best number 1 wide receiver on this team. And because of that, I think he's going to be productive this season. That's not out of this question, because it feels like Davante Adams will be consistent. And the rest of the wide receivers, they got to show up and show out. And I'm just saying, if you don't show up, you're never going to win. Will Devontae Smith get 1,000-yard receiving? Yes or no? Oh, yes. It definitely deserves to go 1,000 yards receiving. And how many touchdowns does he going to get this year? I believe he's going to score 7 touchdowns this season, which is respectable. I think Jalen Hurts, what kind of new offense is going to be? And right now you got Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith, but the Eagles got they still got some experienced offensive line. That's not out of this question. So let's take a look at the Eagles' last year's offensive categories in 2025-26 season last year. We'll get to that in a second. Let's take a look. The Eagles finished 12th 24th in total offense last year. They average 311 yards a game, which is 24th in the NFL. 23rd in pass yardage. They average 194.2 pass yards per game, which is not that great. And then the rushing stats, 18th in rushing yards. And they average 116.9 rushing yards per game, which is 18th in the NFL. So, and then third downs, they rank 24th on third downs, which is 37%. But the Eagles, the positive category, they're number one in red zone touchdown percentage. They convert 71% of touchdown rates this season, last year. So the Eagles have struggled most of their categories except for the red zone. So the Eagles, you know what the good news is? They commit the fourth fewest turnovers in football. So that's how they survive to the postseason. The Eagles don't turn the football over, even though the offense hasn't been productive at times. Are the Eagles team completely tested in 2026? Well, to me, they are tested. They have to battle every minute of this game. They gotta battle every drive. They gotta battle every quarter. They're clearly going to be tested this season, if that's the case. But I'm not putting this on Philadelphia just yet. I'm not putting this on Jalen Hurts, I should say. I'm not putting this on Nick Sirianni. For now. They got like 3 months to figure things out and how they can get along with this team. We've just been talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, back-to-back NFC East division champs, and now they're completely tested. But like I said earlier, the Philadelphia Eagles, they just need to be more consistent. If that's going to be the case. I mean, it's not even the worst thing. So, if that's the case, and that's a different story right now. You must have a safety or two. It's really different. You got to take advantage of it if that's going to be the case. Just don't worry about it. All right, so we're going to move on for that. When we come back on JDB's Morning Cap, we will talk about what happened to Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees. I'll talk about that in about a couple of minutes. And also I'm going to talk about the Bengals. They're ready to compete for the AFC North division. We'll step aside. All right, welcome back here. We did have breaking news from yesterday's Major League Baseball. It's not a good one for the Yankees. The Yankees have placed Aaron Judge on the injured list. He's just suffered a stress fracture of the first rib on his right side. It happened several weeks ago when he got hurt. So Aaron Judge will be reevaluated 4 to 6 weeks. So Judge could return sometime after the All-Star break. Judge is in All-Star voting this year. He will possibly make an All-Star team this year. However, he will not be participating playing an All-Star game. So he will be an All-Star this year, but he will not participate due to an injury. So we'll find out who will replace him to be an All-Star starter in outfield or otherwise. So he suffered a stress fracture in the upper right rib. That's his injury. So he'll be reevaluated for 4 to 6 weeks. So possibly he'll probably get a return after the All-Star break. So the Yankees are currently 37-25 in the regular season. They're sitting a half a game out of first place behind the Tampa Bay Rays in the American League East. The Yankees are battling the Red Sox in Yankee Stadium starting tonight in a 3-game set. Yankees are 3-0 in the regular season against the Red Sox. It happened this past April. They swept the Red Sox in Fenway Park a couple of months ago. Yankees come off dropping 2 out of 3 to Cleveland. They did win yesterday 2-1 against Cleveland in New York. So, and the Yankees have called up Spencer Jones. So, here's my question. Is this a big blow for the New York Yankees? Oh, sure it is. It is a big blow for the Yankees. Aaron Judge, an MVP, and now the American League MVP is going to be up for grabs. With Judge being out, Judge is still my MVP despite he's hurt. But right now, I got to choose the rest of the field. Who's going to take the MVP of the American League in 2026? Who's been performing at a high level? Right now, we're going to put someone in a conversation right now. We have Bobby Witt Jr., Yordan Alvarez. How about Shea Langoniers? Shea Langoniers expect to be in the MVP conversation, what he did last night. Shea Langoniers hit 2 home runs last night, including the inside the park home run when Pete Crow Armstrong could not find the ball in the center field last night. Shea Langoniers picked up his, I think he picked up his 14-15 home run. Let me take a look for Shea Langoniers. Shea Langoniers picked up his 15th and 16th home run last night. He's knocked in 33 RBIs, and his batting average is .289. I think Shea Langoniers can make the case to be in the MVP conversation. Despite the Athletics of West Sacramento has a 30-32 record, they still in the mix for the American League West. I believe they're in the wild card picture right now. So if the A's can keep this race right where it is, then I don't think that's going to be a problem. So the Yankees right now, they just need to be better without Aaron Judge. They struggle without Aaron Judge. Record without Aaron Judge. So far this season, 1-2. They struggle without Aaron Judge so far over the years. So with guys who've been on the injured list, it's been tough. You can't get through that. You just can't. You cannot get through all this. This is a really, really bad spot right now. All right, when we come back, we'll talk Joe Burrow, the Bengals. Can the Bengals win the AFC North division? I'm going to take a look at this schedule as well. We'll step away. All right, so JDB's morning cap continues on this show. The Bengals finishing the season 6-11, a disappointing season once again. The defense let them down. We'll get to that a little bit later here. All right, can the Bengals compete for the AFC North division? Of course they could. But the biggest question mark about the Cincinnati Bengals, can they step up when they need it the most? It's going to be really hard to step it up. Who's going to take places? Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals expect to have an MVP. Expectations. You got Jamar Chase, expect to have a productive season. What we've just been talking about. Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase last season. He caught 125 passes for 1,412 yards, 8 touchdown catches across 16 games. Still productive last year. But you gotta get through that. But it is really hard. It is really hard to get through all this and that. So when I'm looking for the Bengals, what they need to get better. Let's take a look at the Bengals defense in each of their last 3 years. So yeah, their defense is really bad at here. So let's take a look at the defense in each of their last 3 years. As far as total defense, in 2023-24 season, finished 21st in total defense. They allowed 374.6 yards allowed per game, which is bad for 21st in the NFL. Then 2024-25 season, similar, They average exactly 365 yards per game, which is 21st as well. And then last year, it got even worse. 382 yards a game allowed, which is 31st in the NFL last year. They were bottom 10 or worse in the NFL in total defense in each of their last 3 years. Points allowed, they're bottom 5 in each of their last couple of years. Actually, they're bottom 6 in each of their last couple of years. Last year, they finished the second most points allowed in the NFL. They averaged 28.9 points per game allowed, which is second most in the NFL. And the run defense last year, worst in the NFL, 147 rushing yards allowed, next to the Buffalo Bills. They finished 26th against the pass, 233.8 passing yards allowed per game. That's 26. The defense has been a problem over the last 3 years. They can't get over the damn hump. The defense has been a problem in their last 3 years. It is really tough to recognize what's going to happen. The Bengals have an easy schedule this year. There's no getting around it. Will the Bengals have a perfect season? No. They may lose some games that is winnable or not winnable. But the Bengals don't get off to good starts. They don't get off to good starts. They usually get off to a 0-2 starts in almost every year. Last year, it was not the case. They got off to a 2-0 start before Burrow got hurt. And then they only won just 4 games over the final 15 games. That's totally unheard of. It's due to struggling to close out games. Either the defense just unable to execute in the second half. The Bengals have the worst second half points allowed in the NFL. They got to be better in the second half defensively if they want to have a chance to win. It's really tough to recognize. It really is. All right, let's take a look at the Bengals 2026 schedule. And then I'm going to take the results, predictions. So let's see what's the schedule look like in 2026-27 season. Bengals will kick off this season against the Buccaneers at home. I'm going to start off with the W. They'll beat the Buccaneers at home in week 1. Week 2, they're going to play the Houston Texans on the road. They're going to lose that one. Week 3 at Pittsburgh. That's a loss as well. So they're going to go 1-2. Week 4 against Jacksonville. They're going to get back to the win column, make it 2-2. Week 5 at Miami. That's an easy game. They'll beat Miami in Miami 3-2. And then they'll have a bye week 6. And then week 7 at Baltimore. They're going to be rusty at the bye. They're going to lose to Baltimore on the road, make it 3-3. And then it gets a little easier. They'll beat Tennessee in week 8 at home. They're at Atlanta week 9. They'll beat Atlanta as well, make it 5-3. And then Pittsburgh at home. Bengals against the Steelers in Cincinnati. Bengals will get to the Pittsburgh this time. They'll go 6-3. And then at Washington, because last time these two have played each other, Washington won a shootout in Cincinnati. But I got Cincinnati winning over Washington, make it 7-3. And then week 12 against the Saints at home, that's a win, make it 8-3. Week 13 at Cleveland, that's a win, 9-3. Week 14 against the Chiefs at home, another win, 10-3. And then week 15 at Carolina, that's a loss, 10-4. Week 16 at Indianapolis, that's another loss to make it 10-5. And then against Baltimore at home, week 17, returning of Trey Hendrickson, that's a win, 11-5. And then against Cleveland at home, that's a win. The Bengals will go 12-5. And I'm not sure they're going to win this division or not. So I said Ravens go 12-5 and Bengals go 12-5. I think the tiebreaker could go to Cincinnati possibly because of a common record. If that's going to be the case, or is it going to be Baltimore? It's a coin flip right now. Right now, I think Baltimore winning division. Cincinnati will not win division, despite the fact, unless the division record is specified. Let's say if you beat Cleveland twice, so they could easily go 4-2, but that's not a problem at all. It's really the best case scenario right now. I think Joe Burrow should win the MVP next year, if that's going to be the case. All right, let's close it out on JDB's Morning Cap. What's coming up on Monday? I'll recap Game 2 of the NBA Finals. I will preview Game 3 of the NBA Finals. The series will shift to New York on Monday night. Will the Knicks go 2-0 or will the Spurs even up this series? So we have to find out on Monday night. We'll find out tonight in Game 2. And also, I'm going to talk about college football. My predictions, top 25, including several Power 4 schools, for conference, and we'll talk all about that. And I'm still going to talk more NFL as well. All right, man. This is JDB's Morning Cap. Have a good rest of your weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.